Welcome to Horror Boys. It's a podcast on the internet. I'm Austin, joined as always by
Chris.
And we are the Horror Boys. And this isn't any old podcast on this old internet. No, my friends. This is a horror... It's about to be a horror movie podcast again, because this is our last episode where we're covering... Not a movie. We're covering Chucky, the TV show. Yeah. Today we're going to cover Season 2's Episodes 7 and 8. So let's just hop right into it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Episode 7, Going to the Chapel. It was directed by John Hyams of Sick. A really good movie, which is, written by Kevin Williamson, that Chris has still not had a chance to see because I keep forgetting to get him access to it.
It would be cool. I would love to watch that movie.
It's pretty good. And John Hyams, the director of this episode we're talking about, also directed it. Our writers are Nick Ziegler and Amanda Blanchard. Amanda Blanchard, this is her first time writing an episode at all on this, and she was the Season 1's writer's production assistant and has been the Season 2 script coordinator for every episode. So she's technically a Horror Boy alum in her first ever time we're mentioning her name. It was created for TV by Don Mancini. Its producer is David Kirshner. I mean, there's a lot of other producers, but he's the one I mentioned because he's been around since day one, and that's pretty cool. Our composer is Joseph Loduca. Our director of photography is Christopher Seuss. Our production designer is John Dontertman. Our head of the makeup department is Sid Armour. Our special effects makeup is done by Francois Dangenis. Almost done. Animatronic characters and effects by Tony Gardner and Alterian Inc. Our 5 other returning puppeteers are Peter A. Chavaco, Pamela Ivetta, Steve Newbern, Gord Robertson, and Mark Hunter. Alright, bye everyone. Those are the pre-notes. That's all you came here for, right?
Yeah, I think that's what I
Oh, did they want to, know what happened in this episode?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's fair. There's a lot happens. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, a lot happens in this episode.
Yeah. We open with a Sin City-esque stylized black and white where we really see, red popping out in the shot. I believe blue also pops a little bit in some other of the shots in this stylized thing, because, spoiler, we're going to come back to it. Yeah, and the first scene here is Father Bryce asking Jake, "Have you ever made your confession before?" Father Bryce is played by Devon Sawa. Jake is played by Zachary Arthur. Jake replies, "No, I'm not Catholic, but I mean, are we even allowed to do this, Father?" Bryce replied, there should have been a period there, and there wasn't. Sorry. This is my peek behind the curtain. Normally, I do my notes on, paper with a pen, but it, takes forever. So I tried something different today, and I did, talk to text, and there might be some issues here or there that I have to, didn't notice while I was doing it, recording it. So, sorry for any other mistakes. Father Bryce replies, "Normally, absolutely not. But out of the rules we're going to break today, this is the least of them. Just be honest." Jake says, "It's my fault. All of it. My dad, Devon's mom, Gary, and Nadine." Father Bryce says, "Murder. It's the most serious mortal sin. But it's a willful act. You didn't mean to hurt anyone, Jake." Oh, sorry. Once again, apparently I did not do periods at any of these. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. You did not mean to hurt anyone. Jake asks, "What does it matter? They'd all be alive if it weren't for me." We cut to closer to where the last episode ended, where Lexi, Devon, and Jake are holding, I guess we'll call him formerly good Chucky, and they come down from the tower right into gunpoint of Dr. Mixter. Lexi is played by Olivia Allen Lind, Devin is played by Bjorgvin Arneson. Dr. Mixter is played by Rosemary Dunsmore. Lexi says, "No, please, Nadine." Dr. Mixter interrupts. "She's quite dead, I assure you." Hand him over, Mr. Wheeler. Jake starts to hand Chucky over as Chucky says, "Jake, I didn't mean to do it." Jake then shoves Chucky at the wall and starts to choke him. Chucky is played by national treasure Brad Dourif.
Yippee!
Woo! Dr. Mixter demands, "Give him to me now." Jake reluctantly does. Chucky is crying. Dr. Mixter says, "Stop crying. The Charles Lee Ray I know kills without remorse. His violence is pure. It's glorious. Push one little girl off a building and go to pieces?" Chucky says, "I'm sorry, Jake." Wait, no, I'm not. That's not. I just guessed. Sorry, no. Sorry. Once again, my notes are apparently rougher than I expected them to be. I'm really sorry, everyone. This is still her talking, and it says, "I'm sorry, Jake. Good guy dolls are hard to come by. In fact, this is the last one, and I'm going to need it for Chucky Prime." Kyle shows up with a gun of her own, saying, "I think we should talk about that." Kyle is played by Christine Elise. Andy asks, "What did you do to your hair?" Kyle replies, "I wasn't having any fun as a blonde." "What do you do to yours? You look like Jesus." Andy is played by Alex Vincent. Father Bryce and Sister Catherine are both in this shot as well. So I will also tell you about how Sister Catherine is played by Andrea Carter. Kyle continues, "I think there's a deal to be made here," Dr. Mixter says. "You may be right, as long as you understand that when all is said and done, I'm leaving with Charlie." Kyle says, "Not with Nika's body, you're not." Dr. Mixter says, "Agreed. I think we've all seen how messy things get when Chucky tries to occupy a human body." Is that line foreshadowing? Maybe. I don't know. I won't tell. Plastic is much more resilient than flesh. Formerly Good Chucky says, "But this is my body." Dr. Mixer says, "Not for long." Jake says, No way. Chucky's not getting out of here alive." Kyle says, "It's not that simple, Jake. It's good to see you guys again, by the way." Nika Pierce is downstairs. She's a hostage in her own body. Chucky's hostage. No different than if he had a gun to her head. If we can save Nika, that's what we're going to do. What happens to him? Dr. Mixer replies, "I'm afraid that kind of magic is not in I think she says it weird, but it's, Dumbala's purview." I want to say she put a lot of emphasis on that. I don't remember what it was. I remember thinking when she said it that she said it really weird, but
yeah, no,
yeah,
I concur.
Yeah.
I also was like, why did she say it like that?
Yeah, that's not how you say it, Dumbala. I think she says Dumbala, if I remember right, or something like that.
That sounds about right.
And it was like,
yeah.
Well, that's not right. She continues, "We can transfer souls into another vessel, but consigning a soul to hell, that's a Catholic thing." Formerly Good Chucky says, "To hell? Me?" Father Bryce asks, "I'm sorry, you're talking about an exorcism?" Dr. Mixter answers, "Father Bryce, I think you're about to become uncharacteristically useful. Do we have a deal?" And we head to our title card, which this time around is made up by candles, like you'd see like an exorcism, I guess. Or just we're going to see in the chapel this time. I mean, they light a lot of candles. I don't know if I personally think ooh, candles, exorcism, but, whatever. It's fine. We head to a diner even, I can read.
Yeah.
That one was fully on me. There's other times where it's the notes, it's the talk to text. It says diner. I'm just illiterate.
Fair.
Yeah. We head to a diner where Tiffany, Jennifer Tilly Doll, and Glenn arrive. Tiffany and Jennifer Tilly Doll are both played by, would you guess it, Jennifer Tilly.
Well,
Glenn is played by Lachlan Watson. Inside, Tiffany is recognized as Jennifer Tilly, which if this is your first episode, once again, weird that you're jumping in at the end. But
yeah.
In episode 4, Jennifer Tilly murdered people. Not that she hasn't, Tiffany did. But, as well as episode 6, I don't know, she's murdered a lot of people. And, she's now on the run. So that's why she had to leave. Because, recognizing her is bad because she's a criminal.
Sure. Wanted for murder.
Yeah.
Well,
in the car, Tiffany says, "We have to get out of here. We need to find a motel." Glenn says, "Motel? Just slow down. I thought we were going to get Glenda." Tiffany says, "Glenn, will you please stop thinking about yourself for just 1 minute? Jennifer Tilly is wanted for murder. I can't go back on the lam again. And I can't spend the rest of my life in prison either. I need to transfer my soul again. But I can only transfer into a Belle doll. We have to switch places again." Jennifer Tilly says, "No, hold on a second. What about me? I go back to being Jennifer Tilly now that Jennifer Tilly is a criminal on the lam?" Tiffany replies, "Sorry, Jennifer, I don't make the rules. Damballa does." I said it wrong again. That feels wrong. I said it like I was so in my head because of the other one. No, it's Damballa? Is that right? Yeah, Damballa, not Damballa. I don't remember. I don't care. It's whatever.
Dumbledore?
Yeah, Thumbelina does. Besides, you've already been behind bars for many years now. Prison will be a walk in the park for you. Then the car won't start, and Tiffany freaks out. We head back to the school. In Lexi's room, Lexi tells Jake and Devin, "This is bull poop.
Yeah.
It's not right. She didn't deserve this." Jake agrees. "No, she didn't." Lexi continues, "I should have protected her. Instead, we dragged her down into our hellhole and got her killed." Devin says, "We're going to get him, Lex. Chucky's gonna
real
pay."
One. Said R.I.P. to a real one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Nadine. I don't know if I'll ever forgive Don Mancini. I might. He makes really good content. I'll probably forgive him.
Yeah, he does.
Lexi says, "Like you paid for Junior, and my dad, and your mom. He's not going to stop until we're all dead." Jake says, "Together we can do anything." Lexi says, "Together? Don't make me laugh. We don't do anything together anymore. Except fail to stop Chucky from killing people. Be honest. Do any of us actually have anything in common besides Chucky? Do you even like each other anymore? I'm done. I'm done with all of it. I just want to sleep." The boys leave her. Lexi says, "Obscenity, it," and takes a few of the pills formerly good Chucky gave her in the last episode. Disappointing in Lexi. "Oh, what? Because your life's falling apart? You're going back to..." I guess that's fair, actually.
"Your only anchor is now dead."
"Oh, sorry." We head to the library. Formerly good Chucky is tied up. We see Nika and Glenda. Nika is played by national treasure Fiona Dorff. And Glenda is also played by Lachlan Watson. Formerly good Chucky asks, "What's happening? Jake, what's going on?" Sister Catherine and Father Bryce lock up Dr. Mixter and Kyle's guns. Sister Catherine asks, "Father, will it work?" Father Bryce replies, "An exorcism, in theory, should banish an unclean spirit from its host, sending it to everlasting burning hell where it belongs. In God's eyes, I don't see why he'd be different. I need to call the Vatican for approval. And we will make our confession beforehand. Won't work unless we're pure. Sister, would you be so kind as to join me? I may need some moral support. Sister Catherine replies, I'd be happy to, Father. He says thank you, and they leave. Yay! Calling the Vatican. Woo.
Well,
Yeah. Gotta have energy. I know it's late for us. We're recording this. We gotta pretend like we care still.
Huh, we care.
We do. I really.
Just like,
Yeah. Dr. Mixter tells them, give my best to the Pope. Kyle shoves Andy and says, that's for ditching me at the gas station. And she shoves him again. He says, quit it. Because, if you, once again, jumping into this episode, Andy was tortured by, the Colonel, which is a form of one of the Chuckies, for, like, a year straight. Like, having parts of his body slowly carved up. So, all of him is sore.
Yeah.
She continues and says, that's for scaring me half to death. And he says, look, I'm sorry I ran off. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I almost got myself killed. And I know I put you through hell. They hug. Aww. Kyle says, you ever do something this stupid again, I'll kill you myself, okay? Nika rolls up and says, hi, Andy Barkley? I'm Nika Pierce. I don't think we've ever actually met. Andy says, actually, we have. But you were Chucky at the time. Nika says, right. Right, that tracks. Andy then says, he tossed my babysitter out an 8-story window. That's how it started 34 years ago. Nika says, he stabbed me while I was in the womb. And he replies, poop. Definitely says poop.
Yeah.
Kyle says, this is like a Chucky survivor support group meeting. Andy says, well, when this is over, if it works, you'll be free of him. Nika says, none of us will be free of him until he's dead. And when this is over, if it works, he's just going to waltz right out of here with Dr. Mixter. Andy says, first things first. We head over, still in the library, over to Jake and Devin. Jake sighs and says, Devin, I don't know what to say. Look, I'm so sorry. Devin cuts him off. Later. If there even is a later, we'll talk. But right now, we have to try and live through this. And everything else, we just have to live with it. Jake says, hey, Devin, what Lexi said about us not having anything in common, you don't think that, do you? Devin replies, later, and walks away. Aww.
Drama.
The cover, you're not happy right now. That's not good. That's sad.
Yeah. It's almost like they're dealing with like a ton of stress. And,
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Death of a friend. Other stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, kind of been through a lot.
Might be a little bit of stress on the relationship at the moment.
Just a little bit. Formerly Good Chucky says, Jake, I'm sorry. I loved Nadine too. Jake says, you're sorry? That's all you got to say? He walks up and gets in Chucky's face, and Chucky headbutts him. Chucky says, not sorry, and then laughs. Glenda stops Jake from retaliating. Formerly Good Chucky asks, Jake, what happened? I'm all right now. Jake says, no, I see you now. Andy walks over and says, I think it'd be a good idea for everybody if I move Chucky someplace safer. We head to Lexi. Hi. Yeah. Wait, no. Boo.
Yeah, boo.
Yeah, boo. And she's hearing...
Drugs bad.
Yeah. Okay. We head to Lexi High, hearing Nadine's voice say, "You're the bravest person I know," repeatedly. Lexi starts to rip Nadine's decorations off the wall. As she rips up one poster, we hear Nadine say, "No, not the not the kittens frolicking in the daisies. That one's my favorite." We then see Drug Trip Angel Nadine?
Yeah.
Sure. Played by the amazing Bella Higginbotham. We do get to see her one last time in this episode, and that makes me very happy. Lexi says, "You're dead." Nadine says, "Well, that's not a very nice thing to say, even if it's true." Oh man, I love Nadine. It's so sad that she's dead. She's such a good character.
Yeah.
Lexi says, "I've lost it. I have officially lost it." Nadine says, "You seem pretty okay to me, all things considered. But there must be a reason why I'm here." Lexi looks over at the pills and says, "Don't look at me like that." Nadine says, "I thought you didn't need those anymore." Lexi says, "Yeah, me too." Nadine says, "This isn't good, Lexi." Lexi replies, "Yeah, no poop. It's just, I'm freaking out. And nothing else works." I don't know why I put it there. Maybe there was other, I don't know. "It's my fault that you're dead." Nadine says, "Well, that's just not true." Lexi says, "Jake and Devin won't stop fighting." Nadine says, "They have been showing quite a bit of animosity lately." Lexi says, "They're doomed, of course, but who cares? We're all gonna die anyway, so what's the point?" Nadine says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. First, please stop pacing. You're making me a little woozy here." She's feeling a little woozy, man.
Yeah, that's exactly what came to mind when I heard that.
She does not deliver it at all like that, but she does.
No, of course.
Say the line.
Yeah.
They both sit down on Nadine's bed. Nadine continues, "Second, I care. Jake, Devin, your family, they all care. And you're not gonna die. Not yet." Lexi says, "Maybe I should just take them all. Be done with it." Nadine says, "No. You can get through this. You're brave. You're the bravest person I know. It takes a very courageous person to admit that they feel this way. My mom couldn't do it." Lexi says, "I'm sorry I couldn't save you." Nadine says, "Don't be. We all go to the big old amusement park in the sky eventually. I just got my ticket early. But if you want my advice, talk to Jake and Devin. They're your friends. And like I always say, good friends can make it through anything." She said this once before. I mean, it's a Nadine line, so I'll just love it, but it's not like she said this more than once. This wasn't like her catchphrase. She said it once to Lexi at a different point. This is the second time she's ever said it.
It's like I'm always saying.
And I'm not sure if this is happening. I don't think so. I don't think there's angels in this world. But similarly, though, there is, the voodoo god Damballa, so there could be angels, and maybe this is real. Because there's also certain things she says that, I just don't feel like even Lexi's subconscious would think to say. I don't think Lexi would drag Nadine's mom for killing herself. If that's something Nadine angel ghost Nadine actually says, that's you're stronger than my mom even was. If it is supposed to be interpreted as this is her subconscious, she's a real jerk. Being like, yeah, your mom couldn't do it. So I want to hope that it's actually, my headcanon and my belief is that this is actually an angel version of Nadine. Because if not, Lexi's a big old jerk.
I'd half believe it, and that maybe it's less of a just drug-induced hallucination, and maybe it's she's close to the brink of death, and
maybe
she's
I want to believe it's that, because if
the
not,
veil.
Drug Lexi is really mean.
Yeah, it's possible.
That's true. Lexi says, I can't tell anyone that I have a problem. They would totally judge me. Nadine says, silly. You already did. You told me. Lexi says, it was easier with you. Nadine says, but you are strong. You are Lexi flippin' Cross.
Yeah.
She says the F word.
Says
yeah.
flippin'.
No, she says one of the 10 allotted F words, which is really, jarring to hear from Nadine because she's not a character that curses really, so that's why they specifically gave her this one. But yeah. I don't. I'm a good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never on drugs, crap on someone's mom for dying the way she did.
Oh, yeah, that would be pretty terrible.
Yeah. Lexi. Better be an angel. This better be Angel Nadine, or you're a jerk. That's gonna be my one question. If I ever get to meet Don Mancini, I have to ask him the interpretation of this scene. I'll be like, so was that an angel Nadine, or was that like drug trip Nadine? Because if it's drug trip Nadine, you really painted Lexi as a horrible person because of this one line. And he'll be like, I don't remember writing that line. That was 10 years ago. Why are you talking to me in this subway? And I'll be like, I'm sorry. So yeah, she actually wasn't even done with her line before I said that. Sorry, my bad. I know you can do it. Lexi looks at the pills, and when she looks back, Nadine is gone. Because she's an angel and went to heaven, is what I want to believe. Andy locks Chucky in a cabinet with a Hannibal Lecter mask on. Yeah, that's that part of the scene.
That's true.
Yeah, we then head to Andy's confession. He says, I've been afraid for so long, for as long as I can, sorry, not for so long. He says, for as long as I can remember. Now that there's a chance that I might finally be rid of him, well, I'm ashamed to say it, but it terrifies me because I don't know who I'll be without him. We head to Father Bryce on the phone with the Vatican. He tells Sister Catherine after the call, so I've been excommunicated. Sister Catherine says, they can't. Father Bryce says, they did. Sister Catherine says, we have to do something. We need another plan. Something. Alright, I know what it says here, and I could have just kept going, but I have to just read to you word for word what it says here, because it's so funny how stupidly it messed this up. For the braces says, it's Father Bryce.
Yeah. For the braces.
Yeah, for the braces says, as usual, you're absolutely right. And he drops a comedy of exorcism for dummies on the desk. He says, I may no longer be an ordained priest, but I have a duty to my faith and to those children. To hell with the Vatican, sister. He removes his collar, and he adds, we're going rogue. He then gets a suiting up montage as he puts on priest robes, including like a shot of his torso. Look how hot he is. His
big old priestly pecs.
Yeah. I mean, like, hey, he's a muscular man. Good for him. But actually, if I remember, I think there was like, this wasn't initially in the first draft. There was supposed to be a point where he for some reason was going to be shirtless in the actual exorcism. Like the wind was going to blow his robe open, but they had to cut that part. And so, Don Mancini just wrote this in instead. Because I guess Don Mancini was maybe, thirsting after Devon Sawa a little bit. And you know what? Good for him.
Fair. Pretty attractive dude.
Yeah. We head to Lexi waking up to Sister Ruth standing over her bed, holding the pill bottle, saying, these are very dangerous. Sister Ruth is played by Laura Jean Churostecki. Lexi says, yes, Sister Ruth, you're absolutely right. Sister Ruth says, you could kill yourself with these. Lexi says, yes, I know. You can have the pills. I'm done, sister. I'm done. Dang it. Sister Ruth says, oh, not quite, dear. What? What? Oh, Sister Ruth is evil? Oh, yeah, they told us that at the end of the last episode. We head to Glenda going over to talk to Chucky. When he sees them, he says, "Glenda!" Glenda replies, "Yeah." "Hi." Chucky says, "Closer." Glenda walks closer. Chucky asks, "How is my favorite kiddo? Ready to get your old man out of here?" Glenda replies, "I came here to talk. I have questions. Things I deserve to know." Chucky says, "Later. First we gotta..." Glenda cuts him off. No, I ask, you answer. Our whole lives, Glenn and I were lied to. And not just by Mom, by you." Chucky says, "Come on. I never lied to you." Glenda says, "Yeah, well, you never told us the truth either. About who we are. Where we come from. How are we supposed to feel about it? I mean, our own parents. And you took who we are away from us." Chucky says, Glenda continues, "That's not my question, Dad. All I really want to know is why." Chucky replies, "The truth is, you got a raw deal, kid. I can explain everything, and I will. But first, I need you to go get my old Bowie knife. I stashed it in a loose stone behind the church organ back in the day." Glenda says, No, enough. You're exactly like Mom. You're completely self-absorbed. You're violent. You're psychotic. And you were never there for us. And you still aren't. I've been trying to understand you both for so long, I couldn't even see that Glenn and I are actually just orphans. So I'll see you around, Dad. Chucky says, "Whatever you do, you are my kid. You're a killer. And you can't escape that." Glenda leaves. Chucky bangs his head angrily. We head to Glenda's confession. Glenda says, "I just kept thinking how great it would be to know him. Would finally be to know him. To know myself." What? I don't know what it's... To know myself, I guess, maybe. But life doesn't work that way, does it? Now I think I'm more lost than ever. Father Bryce says, "I see." Glenda asks, "Can you do something for me, Father?" Father Bryce says, "I can try." Glenda says, "Can you say a prayer for my twin, Glenn?" Father Bryce asks, "You want me to pray for them? Pray for their soul?" Glenda replies, "Yeah, give them the works. I just miss them, that's all." Father Bryce asks, "Anything else you want to say?" Glenda says, "Yeah, I sort of killed somebody." And we head to the chapel, where Jake is lighting candles, and Father Bryce is saying a prayer to Jesus. Formerly good Chucky says, "Jake, please, I'm afraid." Jake says, "Doesn't matter. If this works, you'll be gone for good." Chucky asks, "Will I go to heaven?" Jake says, "No." Chucky says, "But I was baptized. Can I at least go to purgatory?" Jake says, "I don't know." Which, fair. I don't know what the answer is there. Chucky was baptized, so I don't know the answer there. In the Catholic faith, I don't know where this copy of the Soul of Chucky would be at this point. Father Bryce continues his prayer as he walks towards Chucky, who is tied up. Father Bryce says, "In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit." Sister Catherine says, "Amen." Most others follow suit. Father Bryce splashes holy water on Chucky. Chucky screams, "Burns! It burns!" Father Bryce says, "The power of Christ compels you." Chucky says, "You think I'm scared to go to hell? Obscenity that! I'm from Jersey!" And then laughs. Which, you know what? Fair. I've been to New Jersey. I don't think Chris has. New Jersey sucks. I'll say it. If we have any fans from New Jersey, move. You deserve better.
Yeah. I've never been to New Jersey, but I know the general consensus.
I want to say this has come up on the podcast before, but I don't mind saying it again for maybe a new listener. literally, when we went on like a road trip to, I want to say it was when we went to New York. It might have been when we went to Pittsburgh. I think either way we might have had to go through New Jersey. When we went through New Jersey, literally as we went through, it smelled like crap. Because there was like a lot of like a horseradish farm. Literally, it smells like crap the second you go into New Jersey. I'm just saying. It's a crappy place to be. And if you're from New Jersey, I'm sorry for you.
Leave.
Yeah, for you. I'm sorry for you. We head to Tiffany, Glenn, and Jennifer Tilly. The convertible is getting fixed by a mechanic. Tiffany says, I can't wait to be a doll again. No more wrinkles. Lots of cute outfits. And last I checked, all the plumbing works too. Glenn whispers, it's gonna be okay. Jennifer, we'll figure something out. Tiffany continues, being a doll is where it's at. You can get full off of a fun-sized chocolate bar. You can downsize your house. You can freeze in one position so you lull your victims into a false sense of security. Jennifer Tilly starts to wiggle her hands out of the rope she's tied in. Tiffany says, I for one am happy that I can live where I want, do what I want, and buy thousands of pairs of tiny shoes. Glenn says, wow, sounds like you've got it all figured out. Lots of choices. Tiffany says, exactly, lots of choices. Endless. Glenn says, must be nice. Glenda and I never got any choices. You took them away from us. Jennifer Tilly escapes out of the back door and runs away. Tiffany starts to chase after her, but Jennifer gets hit by a truck and explodes.
Yeah.
Tiffany cries in the street. And a kill that in any other episode would probably be my favorite kill of the episode.
Yeah, but there is
but
a
spoiler
lot in this episode.
Yeah, spoiler, it's not. Back to the exorcism. Sister Catherine says, have mercy on us and him. She repeats it while everyone else holds Chucky down. Father Bryce, while holding a crucifix, says, behold the cross of the Lord. You were tempted for our sake by the devil. Begone all hostile powers. Go. Sister Catherine continues with the have mercy on us and the hymns. Chucky says a very vulgar quote from The Exorcist involving a mother.
Yeah.
Devin says, yeah, we've all seen that movie. Too, butthole. Chucky says, but in your mother's case, it's actually true. She's been busy. Chucky. He then continues, seen the one about the mom that falls down the stairs? Snap goes the neck? It's a classic. I actually haven't seen that one. Maybe we'll cover it on Horror Boys when we find it.
Maybe.
Oh, he's talking about last season. We already did cover it on Horror Boys. I don't know if I'd call episode Cape Queer a classic. It was a good episode, but a classic feels a little strong.
Yeah.
Jake says, Devin, don't listen to him. Father Bryce tells them to hold him. Chucky says, oh, the memories in this room. Dead babysitter, dead mom, dead dad, dead friends, dead family, dead. Yep. You ready to join him? Andy says, rotten hell. Everyone joins in on the have mercy on us and hymns. Chucky asks, hey, Nika, can Chucky Prime come out to play? We need to chat. Killer to killer. Nika replies, obscenity you. Chucky says, fine, have it your way. Everyone continues with the have mercy on us and hymns. Chucky pukes green vomit on Father Bryce. More exorcism references. So many exorcism references.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Can you believe that they're doing references to The Exorcist when they're doing an exorcism?
Exorcism episode?
I know, crazy.
Wild.
Chucky asks, hey, Jake, how did it feel when I killed Nadine? How did it feel when I killed Gary? Oh, too soon? Jake tells him, shut up. Chucky says, Jake, help me, please, it hurts. Devin says, don't listen to him. Jake, I'm here. Chucky says, get a room. Wait, you had one, and all you did was fight over me. Chucky laughs.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not wrong.
That truth.
Yeah. Father Bryce says, be quiet, father of lies. Get out, unclean spirits. Be gone, unclean spirit. Chucky starts to shake. Chucky asks, what the obscenity is this? Then he stops shaking. Father Bryce gets close and says, by the breath of your mouth, O Lord, drive out all evil spirits. Command them to be gone. I command. Chucky interrupts him by biting his lip. He draws blood, which causes Chucky to take the driver's seat of Nika. Even though I've been calling him just Chucky at this point for this, well, Chucky, there's two Chuckies. It'll be Chucky Prime and formerly Good Chucky, to differentiate between the two of them. Chucky Prime says, hey, you having an exorcism without me? Formerly Good Chucky says, hey, me, long time no see. A little help here? Chucky Prime replies, oh, no can do, little man. I need that body. Hey, come on. I'll be good. I just want to... Kyle punches her, bringing Nika back to the driver's seat. Nika says, did you have to punch me? Here, cover my eyes. Kyle does. Father Bryce says, I charge you, Satan, depart from the servant of God. Glenda asks, is this actually working? Chucky says, what kind of kid sends their dad to hell? Huh? Glenda replies, an abandoned one. Chucky says, and you're supposed to be the tough one. Glenda says, the power of Christ compels you. Everyone joins in as Father Bryce splashes holy water on Chucky. Chucky mocks them, singing, you're all gonna die. I'm not gonna cry, because you're all gonna die. You're all gonna die. Chucky raises to the sky, which still rhymes, but wasn't supposed to. He doesn't sing Chucky raises to the sky. I can understand the confusion, because it does follow the same format.
It just happens.
Yeah. They all continue to shout, the power of Christ compels you at Chucky. Father Bryce says, drive out all evil spirits. I command them to be gone. They all stop. Chucky is still in the air for a while, as they all look on scared. We literally get like a shot of each of their faces reacting scared. Oh. Before Chucky falls. Father Bryce starts to laugh like Chucky. Sister Catherine asks, Father, are you okay? When she sees his face look like Chucky, it's like a weird little like effect. They did it before with like weirdly in that like Chucky flashback where like it just ended with like Chucky's face on his face for no reason. This time at least it makes sense. It's like a, you know, demonic possession thing, but then it just happened. She tells everyone to stand back. Chucky says, holy obscenity! Look at me! I'm like 6 feet tall! Father Bryce seems to struggle and says, Chucky, you go to hell! Chucky Bryce says, you first, Father! And Father Bryce explodes in such an awesome effect that they show it like 5 times from every different angle.
Very silly.
It is, but it's fun.
I do enjoy it.
I believe it's based off of a kill in The Fury, which is a Brian De Palma film. Don Mancini loves Brian De Palma, so it's one of like his favorite directors. So yeah. Everyone gets splattered with blood. Nika asks, what happened? Did it work? I can't see anything. Because we had to, you know, after that, you know, silly, but still serious in the sense of like a important character just died. I mean, we all knew it would happen, but still. You know, we had to, you know, get back to comedy, though, because this is a horror comedy still.
Yeah.
We cut to Father Bryce's confession, being done by Sister Catherine. Father Bryce says, this is so unorthodox. Sister Catherine says, think of me like you were like I were a priest. Just without your rights and privileges and status. Father Bryce says, I always judge people so harshly. I think that's because of how hard I treat myself. The church has always been a refuge for people like me. it never fully accepted us either. I've always known I was different, and I've always wanted to be a priest. I guess on so many levels, when you have that kind of conflict in you, you know you're going to be at odds with everyone else. They both start crying. Father Bryce says, I'm sorry. What's my penance? Sister Catherine replies, nothing. Father Bryce asks, nothing? How can that be? Sister Catherine replies, with all due respect, I think you have punished yourself more than enough. Father Bryce continues to cry. Oh, powerful scene. Which, with some big implications, But
yeah, they never say straight out what it is, but it is implied pretty
heavily that Father Bryce is part of the Rainbow Cult.
Yeah, he's a member of the LGBTQ
IA plus. But yeah, real quick before, just in case this is your first time, the Rainbow Cult. I hope you could tell by the voice. I'm doing my best Alex Jones
very
impression.
goofy voice.
But yeah, there was one really stupid comment on Shudder that I just make fun of because it pisses me off so much. Because once again, if you're new here, we support inclusivity and we very supportive podcast of things like that. We want that in horror. It's great to have representation, but also you're an idiot if you didn't think Chucky was gay, not Chucky himself was gay, but he is kind of now because of Chucky Nika. But that's not the point. The point is, Don Mancini is an openly gay man who created Chucky, and since 1998, before it was even really acceptable in society, he was putting gay characters into stories without them being the butt of a joke. There just happened to be a gay guy in Bride of Chucky. Of course, Chucky's got gay now. No, it didn't. Chucky's always been gay. Get over it. It just pisses me off a lot. It really does. But yeah, I'm going to continue. Complaining. No, I'm going to continue with the notes. Okay. We cut back to his head, which was pretty much all that's left of him. Sister Catherine covers his head with a cloth. Jake says, I don't know what's wrong with me, as he wipes away tears looking at formerly good Chucky. Devin says, you're a good person, Jake. You just try to see the best in everyone. Dr. Mixer says, heartwarming, but I have a pressing schedule. Could we wrap this up? Sister Catherine says, a man just died. Dr. Mixer says, no, a man just exploded. And I may remind you all, we have a deal. Andy says, so let's get on with it. Nika is wheeled over and places her prosthetic hand over the good guy doll. Which, by the way, if you don't remember, Nika has been through hell on this show. If you just had watched the movies and you're oh, I know the character Nika. Okay. Wait, what? She has no arms now? Yeah, I know. Crazy. She also has no legs, but she was already in a wheelchair, so nothing really changed that much there. Yeah. So she starts the Ade Due Dumbala incantation. And we head to Nika's confession. She says, I hate Chucky for blowing up my life. I hate Tiffany for holding me prisoner. But most of all, I hate myself for failing to stop them. Father Bryce says, hatred is a sin that poisons us from the inside. Nika says, I've lived that poison inside me every day, and now it's time to get it out. Back to her doing the incantation. The storm starts. She continues in French. Chucky, leaving Nika, causes her to shake before passing out. Chucky says, hey-oh! Dr. Mixter goes to pick him up, but Andy grabs him and passes him to Jake like he's a football. Yeah. Who runs off with him and starts to drown him, or starts to try and drown him, because technically drowning someone means you successfully... to drown, you have to actually die in water. So he tries to drown him in the basin of holy water. Sister Ruth comes in with Lexi at gunpoint. Sister Ruth says, Jake, good and upright is the Lord. He will teach sinners the way. Jake stops. Dr. Mixer says, took you long enough. Sister says, I'll spare her for Dr. Mixter and our Lord and Savior. Andy says, Lord and what? Kyle says, She's talking about Chucky? Which, fair reactions. Because it's a little weird that she thinks Chucky is Jesus. It's weird. It makes no sense, but she does. And, she's crazy.
Yeah.
Lexi says, Jake, please. Jake says, okay, just let her go. Chucky says, Jake, didn't know you had it in you. Been working out? Too bad you couldn't finish. Hope that's not an issue in the bedroom. Devin? Devin flips off Chucky. Chucky laughs and says, right. You still haven't played music, is exactly what he says, nothing else.
Yeah.
In the bed, that's where he played music, is in the bedroom. But they've never done it. Dr. Mixer says, oh, that's enough, Charlie. As she takes Chucky, she continues, there's no need to rub it in. Chucky replies, come on, Doc. That's the best part. So long, suckers. See you real soon. Like he's like Porky Pig, apparently.
Yeah.
Andy and Kyle start to walk towards Sister Ruth. Sister Ruth says, stop right there. Harbinger of sin. Instrument of blasphemy. Everybody just stay calm. She still has a gun to Lexi's head. Sister Ruth says, Lord, I am your servant. I will honor... Glenda throws a knife into Sister Ruth's eye. Sister Ruth tries to pull out the knife and pulls out her eyeball and falls over dead. In my least favorite kill. Sorry, it's not bad. It's just there's a lot of really good kills.
Fair.
Lost my place. Devin, Lexi, and Jake hug. Kyle, Andy, and Glenda head out after Dr. Mixter and Chucky. Andy grabs Sister Ruth's gun on his way out. He shoots the gun, hitting Chucky in the mouth, taking off his lower jaw. That may be important later. Dr. Mixter drops Chucky and runs away. Chucky gets up and is shot multiple times in the back in slow motion. Chucky falls over dying. Andy, Kyle, Lexi, Devin, Jake, and Nika look on as Chucky takes his final breath. Kyle asks, do you think his whole life is flashing before his eyes? Andy says, if it is, I'm sure he thinks he's having the last laugh. We head to Glenda in the chapel, cleaning the blood from the knife she threw in Sister Ruth's eye. We see that it was Charles Lee Ray's old Bowie knife. The kids look on as Chucky burns. They all hug. Andy says to Kyle, now they get to have what Chucky stole from us. Kyle says, yeah, now all they have to worry about is acne, gym class, and heartache. Adolescence is a real horror show. Andy.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Adolescence is a real horror show. Andy. I think it's just, there's other parts missing here, but she's like, I think she says like even without dolls. I don't know why it says Andy dolls. That makes no sense. Andy says, Chucky made you so cynical. Kyle says, nah, that was my parents. So now that we're back from the dead, what should we do with the rest of our lives? Andy says, I don't know. I haven't thought about my future since the first grade. Which, is a little weird because, from like second grade or so, or whatever, whenever this, in between the second and third movie, he has like 10 years of his life with no Chucky. You would have thought he would have moved on during that period. But he didn't. Kyle says, well, lucky for you, you have the rest of your life to figure it out. They start to head out the door, and we see a clip from the end of Child's Play 2 where Kyle and Andy walked off from the factory. Outside the school, Nika tells Glenda, through most of that in there, till the end, I didn't know whose side you were on. Glenda says, I'm on my own side. Always. Glenn's side, too. Nika says, well, I'm grateful for what you guys did for me. I have my life back, so thank you. Glenda asks, what are you going to do now? Nika chuckles and says, I don't know. Watch a movie that doesn't star Jennifer Tilly? How about you? How are you feeling? Glenda sighs and says, like an orphan. At this point, Tiffany and Glenn drive up. Nika says, "Not quite." Glenn and Glenda embrace. Tiffany says, "Hello, Nika." Glenda tells Glenn, "Dad's dead." Nika points a gun at Tiffany and says, "Now Mom is dead too." Tiffany pleads, Nika, please, for my kids, don't kill me. Please, they need me. Don't. No. Nika says, "Sorry," and pulls the trigger. Glenn and Glenda both yell. Glenn runs towards and jumps in front of Tiffany, taking the bullet for her. Glenda and Tiffany pick up Glenn and drive off, leaving Nika distraught. We cut to Dr. Mixter driving. Intercut with her confession, where she said, "When this is all done, I'm going to unleash Chucky on the world all over again, and because you have sworn your holy vows to keep my confession inviolate, there is absolutely nothing you can do to stop me." Father Bryce tells her to get out. Dr. Mixter asks, "Do you truly believe in eternal life, Father?" "I know you preach it. I believe it with certainty, and I know its true source." Father Bryce slammed the confessional window, and we cut back to Dr. Mixter in her car, laughing like Chucky. What? My thoughts on this episode. It's really great. Great way to end the season. We'll see you next week. Oh, wait. No. Yeah, no, actually, this is... It feels... This is a joke there, but this episode feels so much like a finale. It's weird.
It does.
Yeah. And it's not a problem. No. But, yeah. Yeah, it feels like a finale. It's really good. The kills are fun. It's good. It's Chucky. I'm not going to dislike anything Chucky does so far. Spoiler for the last episode, I don't dislike that either. I'm a Chucky fan. Sorry if you wanted me to, crap on it. I don't. I really like it.
That's fair. This episode really did feel like a finale. And watching it through for the first time, I was like, huh? Huh? How is there a season 3 that's coming out? I don't understand.
Well, you got that Dr. Mixter stinger there at the end to set up for season 3. Sorry, for season 2, episode 8.
Yeah, for the actual finale.
I mean, in a way, it kind of I would say it almost feels like the last episode was the series finale, and now we get the Chucky standalone Christmas special. It's still in the same world. Spoiler: it's a Christmas episode. Yeah, so it's almost feels like its own thing. It still continues the story, obviously. But, that really was kind of the end of Season 2. And now we have the more of Season 2. It's weird.
Yeah, this is the OP. It was anime fans would call it. But this is camp, unlike the OPs.
This is our epilogue. It's a full hour.
Yeah. Sure is.
Yeah. And so let's get right into that.
Let's do it.
The next episode is Chucky Season 2, Episode 8. Chucky Actually. Get it? Because of Love Actually? It's a pretty good title, I guess. I don't know. The director is Jeff Renfro. Our writers are Don Mancini, Alex Delisle, and Mallory Westfall. All other crew is the same as the last episode. We open re-showing Dr. Mixter running away from Chucky and Chucky. Chucking away... Wait, what? Running away... I think it's supposed to be with Chucky, but I wrote from Chucky. Running away with Chucky and Andy shooting him. This time, when Kyle asks, "Do you think his whole life is flashing before his eyes?" we head to a flashback of Dr. Mixter dancing with a young Charles. Young Dr. Mixter is played by Sage Kitchen. Which, that's just a cool name that also feels like it's not a real name.
Yeah. Definitely feels like a certain kind of name.
Yeah, I guess.
But also not.
But also, the name is Sage Kitchen, so it doesn't.
Yeah, that's my Food Network
it's
name.
Like food. It's your food porn name.
Oh.
Because that's a thing, food porn. It's really tasty looking food on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Young Charles is played by David Colesmith, returning from Season 1. Dr. Mixter asks, Charlie, did you always plan on killing your mother? Or was it a spontaneous decision? Charles asks. What's spontaneous? Dr. Mixter replies, all of a sudden, unplanned. Now we see teenage Charles respond, I like both, actually. Teen Charles is played by Tyler Barish, also returning from season 1. Teen Charles continues, but spontaneous is the most fun. They dance some more. We move up the timeline to Chucky, the doll, talking to Dr. Mixter sometime during season 1. It kind of feels like it should be before, but the pictures he shows her are like pretty. Some of them are late in the season, so I don't even know when this scene's actually supposed to take place.
Yeah.
Because, like, this picture of Junior, I want to say is literally from, like, episode 7. Because he's, like, at the funeral of his mom. Which, like, you think he would have been... he's already trying to convince, like... And she's, like, giving him advice on how to do it. Like, he's already... I don't know. It feels... It's like they should show some different pictures for those characters. Because this scene feels like it should be set before the season. But it is what it is. See, I point out the flaws that the show has. It just doesn't have a lot of them. Chucky says, so here's the deal, Doc. I need to get one of these little poops to kill someone. Dr. Mixter says, well, I've had them on my couch. I've had them on my couch over the years. I nod, I prod, they do what I tell them, and then I just sit back and watch their lives fall apart. They both laugh. Dr. Mixter continues, it's quite fascinating, really. Chucky says, how do I do it? Most kids aren't born with my kind of talent, you know. Dr. Mixter says, of course not, Charlie. Your particular form of genius is exceedingly rare. Keep in mind, these are teenagers. They are ruled by their hormones, their emotions, and their anxieties. We get clips of Chucky killing off a bunch of parents from season 1. Dr. Mixter continues, if you want to push them over the edge, all you have to do is to traumatize them. Chucky says, uh-huh. They both laugh, and we see the scene of Junior killing his father from season 1.
Yeah.
I guess because, you know, they do, like, show the full scene with him. Junior is played by Teo Briones. I remembered it, so I'll give him a shout-out here. He's not in this season, really, but they show his footage again, so yeah, sure, he gets credit. We then find out that after they ran off, while Sister Ruth and had Lexi at gunpoint, Chucky punched Dr. Mixter, and once she was knocked out, he said, sorry, Doc, but I'm afraid our time is up. He starts the Ade, Due, Dumbala, and Switch variant of the incantation from C to Chucky. And switches himself and Dr. Mixter. When Andy shot the doll's mouth, Mixter wasn't able to explain that Chucky ran away in her body. Not that I think they would have really cared or listened, but, you know, it doubles down, and that's specifically why she got, I think they, you know, that's why he got shot in the mouth, because, you know, maybe even, they can't even explain. We then see Chucky and Dr. Mixter's body go to her office and retrieve a backup good guy doll from a safe with the code 110988, which is the release date of the original Child's Play, November 9th, 1988. It's a fun little detail there.
Fun little tidbit.
Yeah. He transfers his soul into the doll. We get our title card made out of Christmas trees, I guess. It all looks like it's made of like with good guy hammers, good guy yardsticks, Dumbala knives, and chainsaws. 3 of those are familiar. One of them is not in this franchise. December 22nd. 3 chopping days till Christmas. We head to Lexi's Narcotics Anonymous meeting. Lexi is sharing, hi, my name is Lexi. I know you know my last name. I've never exactly been anonymous. I'm an addict. Just got out of rehab. It's one of the very few things in my life that I never posted on TikTok or Instagram because it didn't fit the perfect commercial for the perfect life I was trying to advertise. Like layers and layers of secrets I've been trying so hard to keep covered up. But the truth is, my addiction isn't the only secret I've been keeping. Jake, who came to support Lexi, starts to seem worried. Lexi continues, there's another secret. One that only 3 people in my life know about. It's definitely one of the reasons I'm an addict in the first place. But it's even scarier than the addiction itself. The truth is, for a while now, there's been a monster in my life. A monster hiding behind a supposedly innocent face. It's actually been driving certain behaviors on my part that may have looked bad from the outside. The monster is my mother. Jake is relieved. Lexi continues. I mean, we all know what she's like, right? Controlling, self-absorbed, narcissistic. It's no wonder I'm an addict. Frankly, with my mother as a role model, it's a miracle I'm not a hooker. We head to the Cross House. Outside, Jake asks, hey, so, have you talked to Devin? Lexi says, maybe once, rehab and a billion hours of community service didn't exactly help my social life. He's probably just busy getting his hours in. Jake says, yeah, you're probably right. I just finished mine yesterday, so... Inside, Caroline is watching a Christmas movie with her Belle doll. Caroline is played by Corinna Patrick. Jake asks, once they walk inside the door, so your mom's really okay with me staying over the holidays? Lexi responds, I haven't told her yet. Jake says, wait, what? Lexi says, okay, perfect timing. Let me do the talking. Hey, Mom. Miss Cross responds, hi. What? Oh, yeah, it just says hi here. She just says hi. Miss Michelle Cross is played by Barbara Allen Woods. And because it's the last time I'm going to get to do it for this season, I'll bring up that they're played by real-life mother and daughter, and that's just really weird and cool. Lexi says, Jake's here, and he needs a place to crash for a few days. Michelle responds, Jake, oh, it's so good to see you. Of course you can stay here. It's the holidays. You should be with people who love you. She hugs Jake. Jake says, thank you, Miss Cross? Lexi says, yeah, thanks, Mom. Michelle says, Miss Cross is what I call the mother of my late husband. God rest his soul. Please call me Michelle. Lexi says, thanks, Michelle. Michelle gives a fake-sounding laugh and says, besides, surviving an ordeal together like we did with last year's tragedies, I think has taught us all the real meaning of community. What kind of neighbor would I be if I wasn't here to take in a poor orphan during the holidays? Lexi says, 2 orphans? Devin comes downstairs saying, surprise! Jake is happy to see Devin and hugs him. Michelle turns off her live stream, which, explains why she was being so nice, because that's not Michelle. That is not Michelle Cross for you. And she says, definitely says this, does not say anything else, says, gosh darn it, Alexandra. Why do you do this to me? I was live streaming to 100,000 followers, which is honestly impressive if that's true. Like, she's a small town mayor. How did she get in a 100,000 person following?
Good question.
Bot accounts, probably. Lexi asks, what's the problem? Wouldn't taking in 2 orphans at Christmas make you look even more charitable and mayor-like? Say, normal to your followers? Michelle says, I can't do this with you today. Okay? I can't do this. And she walks away saying, I'm walking away. Lexi says, Merry Christmas, Jake. Devin says, I'm your present. Lexi says, from me. Devin hands Jake a present saying, and this is from me. Jake says, oh, wow, thank you. I have to go out for a while. Devin says, you just got here. Jake says, yeah, I know, I have to get your present. Devin says, you're my present. Jake says, yeah, but I'm from Lexi. You know, we're both presents from Lexi. You know, this is from you to me. So, you know, I have to reciprocate. Devin says, Jake, you're making this too complicated. I just want to spend time with you. That's all I want for Christmas. Jake says, look, I know, me too, but you're going to love this. I promise. Okay? Look, I'll be right back. And Jake leaves. Caroline is now watching the news. The story is about how Dr. Mixter was found dead in her office, apparently of natural causes. We also find out that the school is permanently closed. We head to Glenda at the hospital. They pass a nice nurse who asks, can I get you anything? Glenda says, not tonight. Thanks. I'm okay. The nurse is played by Cleo Handler, who's, fun fact, the stepdaughter of Brad Dourif.
Huh.
Yeah. More nepotism. They tell the guard outside Happy Holidays before going in the room to see Glenn. The guard is played by stuntman Daryl Sheeler of Super Babies, Baby Genius 2, Blade Trinity, Deadpool, Sonic the Hedgehog, a lot of Air Bud Universe movies, and Elf alongside Horror Boy alum James Caan. Crazy.
Okay.
Done stunts in like a bunch of really crappy movies, and then also movies where I was like, oh, okay. You know, like both Super Babies movies. Well, the first two. Baby Genius movies.
Baby Geniuses?
Yeah, sorry. There's only one Super Babies movie. He did both Deadpools. He did Sonic. He did like half the Air Bud movies. It's like the man has a crazy career. Glenda says, I'm back. They get a phone call, and it's from Ghostface. Wait, no, it's Tiffany, who asks, how are they? Glenda replies, not good. The doctors say that they have days now, maybe less. I can't lose Glenda, Mom. If they die, I die too. Tiffany says, I know, sweet face, I know. Glenda says, then you know what we have to do. Tiffany says, yes. Glenda continues, you're okay with that? Tiffany says, why do you think I saved it all these years? Glenda says, we have to get you in here. I mean, you're the only one who knows how to do the spell. I mean, that's not true. We just saw in the last episode, or early in this episode, Chucky could also do the spell. But, you know,
True.
They're on worse terms with Chucky than with Tiffany. Tiffany says, what about the guard? Glenda says, I have an idea. You just have to be Jennifer Tilly one last time. Tiffany says, but Jennifer Tilly is wanted for murder. Glenda says, Jennifer Tilly is a darn good actress, and tomorrow you're going to give the performance of her life. We head to Chucky at Dr. Mixter's office, where he's reading a catalog, and when he sees the world's quietest chainsaw, he says, whoa, world's quietest? What the hell, I deserve it. I've been a very naughty boy this year. He then laughs to himself. It is now December 23rd, 2 chopping days till Christmas. Michelle is live streaming her nativity scene in her front yard. She says, hey everybody, I just wanted to pop in and share how my beautiful nativity scape is coming along. Take a look. Here we go. I just finished... I don't know what word that was supposed to be. I'm realizing that I didn't notice that it, like, tried to correct a lot of words to the wrong word. I thought I was paying attention as I went on, but...
You just finished my nativity scene?
Yeah, she says, like, I just finished something, these handsome gents. Dressing. It's probably dressing. For some reason, they wrote nursing. And I'm like, that's not right. She was not nursing these dolls.
I would certainly hope not. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wasn't talking about... There are two different versions of the word nursing. She could have just been, like, fixing their wounds, Chris. But she was doing neither.
That's true.
And then she continues, and can't find a suitable baby Jesus? Any doll from your kids' room will do. And we see that the Belle doll is Jesus. What? Glenda, with a suitcase, is back at the hospital. They purposely spill the guard's coffee, so he leaves the room unattended. She gives him money for another one. Tiffany, dressed like a doctor, sneaks into Glenn's room. Glenda says, "Okay, we have to be quick." Glenda takes out the Glenda doll and hands a Voodoo for Dummies book to her mom. Tiffany... What? Tiffany says, "Find the spell in the book." Wait, no. Tiffany finds... Okay, there it is. Sorry. Tiffany finds the spell in the book and is about to start reading it when the guard comes in. He says, "Holy poop!" "It's you!" Tiffany replies. "Yes, it's me, Dr. Robert Rasmussen." That joke, I like that joke. That was funny.
Yeah.
The guard says, "I didn't think you'd actually be stupid enough to come here." Tiffany says, "Predictability is so boring, don't you think?" She starts to walk towards the guard, who says, "Hold on, right there." Tiffany asks, "Are you going to finish that drink?" The guard says, "I suppose you plan to throw it in my face." Tiffany says, "Could be," and giggles. She then picks up flowers and smashes the vase over his head, knocking him unconscious. Also, apparently, they don't say it here in the episode, but apparently that, those flowers are, they're not in water, they're in, like, Everclear, as we're about to see, apparently. Don't know why, but they are, apparently.
Yeah.
The nurse is at the door, wondering what the noise was. Glenda says, "Oh, the clutch strikes again. I broke a vase." But Glenda says they'll clean it up. So the nurse leaves. Glenda uses a defibrillator on the guard, somehow catching his head on fire. Just kidding. It's not somehow. Silly note. It's because of the Everclear in the flower vase for some reason. It makes no sense. Here's the thing. Am I going to complain about a cool fire effect? No, I'm really not going to complain that much. But it does make literally no sense.
True. Does not make any sense.
Yeah. Glenda and Tiffany stand next to each other looking over the fire. Glenda says, "Merry Christmas, Mom." Tiffany replies, "Merry Christmas, Glenda." They hug before we see just Tiffany leave with the suitcase. The nurse goes in to check and sees the fried guard and the cold, lifeless bodies of Glenn and Glenda. We head to the hotel, where Tiffany is watching Michelle's live stream and sees the Belle doll. Tiffany says, "Oh my God!" We then hear a familiar voice say, "What is it?" Tiffany replies, "I think Mummy just found her next sublet." We pan over to see the Glenda doll. I'm going to, from this point on in the notes, refer to them as the name that, spoiler, they're going to give themselves later in this scene. But Gigi is voiced by the returning Horror Boy alum, Billy Boyd.
That's right.
Yay, Billy Boyd. I mean, I like Billy Boyd. He's cool. I am slightly sad that, Lachlan Watson is gone, because I thought they were doing a really good job. But, hey.
Yeah.
Tiffany heads back to giving Gigi a makeover. Gigi asks, "Am I done yet?" "Can I see?" Tiffany says, No. I just have to put on the finishing touches." She finishes the makeup and shows Gigi their reflection. Gigi says, "Oh, it's me. Oh, I love it. I love me. Oh, thank you, Mummy." Tiffany says, "Oh, you're welcome. But, honey, you're pissing your pants. You're pissing..." Oh, wait, no, they don't say that. Sorry. I just felt like it needed to be there.
They did not bring that bit back.
Thankfully, that
imagine why.
I feel like that bit's gone for some reason. No, pissing your pants. Tiffany says, "Oh, you're welcome. Oh, what should I call you now?" Gigi says, "Gigi. Call me Gigi." Tiffany replies, "Gigi, I love it. So, Gigi, what should we do now? Should we go online and shop for tiny shoes? For little tiny shoes?" Gigi replies, "Oh, stop it, Mummy. You'll wrinkle my dress." Because she was, had her hand on their, thigh. They both laugh. Tiffany asks, "Or we could scare the poop out of that little brat in room 304 down the hall." Gigi says, "Oh, actually, I thought maybe I might do some traveling. Tiffany says, Oh, that sounds very exciting. Where do you think you might want to go? Gigi replies, England. England, definitely. I want to explore my roots. Tiffany says, kind of clocking that. What's the accent you're doing? Gigi replies, It's my accent. Tiffany says, Oh, no, sweet face. You're way overplaying it. If I were you, I would dial it back to about a 7. Gigi replies, What would Jennifer Tilly do, Tiffany replies, Crank that poop. They high-five and laugh together. Gigi says, Oh, I'm going to miss you, Mummy. Tiffany says, Aw, I'm going to miss you too, Gigi. Can I give you a lift to the post office? It is now December 24th. One chopping day till Christmas. At the crosshouse. Yeah. I didn't know I was going to do a dramatic voiceover for every time that popped up, but that's the bit I've chose. At the crosshouse, Jake returns with a present for Devin. As Devin opens his gift, Jake says, I did some research online. Apparently this is the best one, so I thought maybe it could help you get back into podcasting, just like old times. Devin says, Thanks, in a tone that shows he's not thrilled with his gift. Jake, noticing the tone, says, What? Devin answers, Well, I haven't really been into podcasting for a year. I'm kind of done with it. Jake says, Okay, I'm sorry. Devin says, But I mean, it is cool though. Thanks. Jake says, Yeah. Merry Christmas, Devin. Devin says, Yeah, you too. Aww. They're not happy together right now. So sad.
Uh-oh.
We head to Christmas Eve dinner. Devin tries to grab some food, but Michelle stammers before saying, I have to post this. As they start serving the food, Michelle says, So my followers really seem to love my nativity scene. It got over 30,000 likes. So, sweetheart, are you excited for Santa night? Caroline responds, I guess. Michelle says, Well, you've been such a good girl this year. I bet he's going to bring you something really special. Caroline says, I hope I like it. Jake says, No, it's okay. If you don't, though, you could always just exchange it for something you think is better. Devin says, Jake says, Just return it for cash. I mean, cash is great. Devin says, Jake, I like the gift, okay? Jake says, Yeah, well, it doesn't seem like you do. Devin says, What do you want me to say? I love it. I think it's the greatest gift in the history of all gifts. Jake says, I was just trying to make you happy. What's wrong with that? Devin says, You're not trying to make me happy. You're trying to make yourself feel better. Jake says, What is that supposed to mean? Devin says, The podcast poop is so last year. Michelle says, Language. She doesn't like the word poop. It's a pretty dirty word, I understand. Jake says, Then what? What do you mean? Devin replies, Jake says, Wait, what do you... Sorry, I misread words. Jake says, Then what? What do you want? Devin replies, You. Jake says, You have me. Devin says, No, I don't. You didn't show up for Halloween, and when we finally got back together, all you did was ignore how I felt about stuff. And that's not me replacing, like, a curse word. I could see if you would have interpreted that as such, but no, that is Devin stopping himself from saying Chucky. I came here because I thought things were going to be different. I feel like an idiot. All this time, we've said we've been together, but I think you left a long time ago. Jake says, Devin, Michelle interrupts. All right, enough. This is wildly inappropriate. Lexi says, Mom, they're just being honest. Michelle says, The dinner table is no place for that. It's Christmas, for God's sake. Lexi says, Well, I have something that I want to say. Michelle says, Oh, Lexi, please, not now. Lexi says, Mom, I was just gonna... Michelle says, Oh, look, here it goes. Once again, Michelle sucks. Lexi says, I'm sorry. All this time during my recovery, I blamed you for everything that's gone wrong in my life. How you've been selfish and mean, and how you just left me alone in all the sadness. Michelle says, "This is your apology?" Jake says, "Look, Michelle." Michelle responds, "Mrs. Cross." Jake continues, "Mrs. Cross, this isn't easy for her, okay? I know you think that Lexi just cares about herself, but that's not true. She's been trying really hard, and the least you could do is listen to her." Michelle says, "Okay." Lexi says, "Thanks, Jake. What I was trying to say was that everything that I have blamed you for, I'm also guilty of doing. And that's on me. That's my fault. I never really thought about what you might be going through. That you might be hiding the pain as much as I was. I think we're both more like each other. We're both more alike than either of us wants to admit." Michelle says, "Well, I'm glad you're learning how much your behavior affects other people. You're really growing up. And I admit, I have made some mistakes too. I'm really sorry for that." Caroline says, "It's a Christmas miracle. Why don't you two just make up already?" That's talking to Devin and Jake. Outside, we see footprints that look like Chucky's in the snow. What? No. Inside, Jake and Devin are now getting ready to go to sleep on Lexi's floor. Lexi asks, "Are we going to be like that when we grow up?" Jake asks, "Who?" Lexi responds, "Andy and Kyle. No jobs, no lives, just completely obsessed with all things Chucky?" Devin replies, "That is a terrifying thought." Lexi says, "Every time I get a wrong number, every time we see someone with red hair, or even a certain kind of box," should have said a familiar type of box, disappointed in the writers for not knowing the bit I was going to do after this came out. "Are we just going to think it's him?" Jake replies, "Chucky's dead." Lexi says, "So I've heard." Jake continues, "I think we just need to learn to live with it. Bad things will always happen, whether Chucky's here or not." Lexi says, "Wow, that makes me feel so much better." Jake says, "You know what makes me feel better? You two. You really do." Lexi says,
Oh.
Now I feel like a jerk." She doesn't say jerk, though. But, sorry. Devin says, "We love you anyways." Lexi says, "Okay, yeah, I love you too. I'm going to sleep. Good night, dorks." Jake says, "I'm sorry, Devin." Devin says, "It's okay." Jake says, "No, it's not. You're right. And I think I was avoiding you." Devin asks, "Why?" Jake answers, "I don't know. I thought I wasn't good enough for you." Devin replies, "That's insane." Jake says, "I let Chucky get to me. Twice. He got inside my head, and people died." Devin says, "Chucky was the butthole. It's not your fault." Jake says, "Yeah, well, Chucky may be gone, but you're still stuck with the same old me." Devin says, "That's exactly the you I want. The Jake who makes weird art. The Jake with long, curly hair." Jake says, "I knew you didn't like my haircut." Devin continues, "And the Jake who stands up for his friends like you did with Lexi tonight. That's the Jake I love." Jake says, "I love you more, Devin." Devin says, "That's not possible." Jake replies, "Coolio." Which, both of those lines were references to other moments. I think I actually skipped over the "I love you more" bit. That was for the first episode of this season. And Coolio is from, I don't remember which episode, but it's from last season. They then start to kiss. I guess they've made up. Which, you know what that makes me feel? Angry that the Rainbow Cult has taken Chucky away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lexi also feels the same way and interrupts them. Wait, no, she doesn't. But she does interrupt them and says, "Okay, this is very sweet, but can you please stop making out on my floor so I can get some sleep?" The boys chuckle, Jake says, you know, you're the best Christmas present I've ever gotten. Devin replies, speaking of which, you did save the receipt for the podcast poop, right? Jake says, oh, shut up. They both laugh, look up, and see that they're under the mistletoe, so they kiss again.
Yes, I asked you to stop kissing.
Yeah. You guys are really bad friends. She asked you to do one thing for her. They go to sleep, and we see a shot of the Cross family Christmas tree. Chucky comes down the chimney with a Santa hat and his chains in his what? And his chainsaw in hand. We head to commercial. It is now 1 second later. Caroline does a voiceover of the night before Christmas, but Chucky cuts in saying, with visions of killer dolls dancing in their skulls instead of sugar plums. He then says, I'll take it from here, Caroline. And he does. He does some rhyming here. I enjoyed my milk and cookies, wearing a silky red cap, but I had zero intentions of taking a nap. So then to the stairs I flew with a flash, excited to have 3 nosy kids to slash. Outside, Tiffany drives up and goes over to the nativity, but the Belle doll isn't there, so she sneaks in through the back door. Chucky is right behind Tiffany, about to attack her, but stops and hides when Michelle on the stairs says, "Who's there? I'm gonna call the cops." Jennifer? Jennifer Tilly? Hi, it's me, Mayor Michelle. Tiffany says, Oh, hi. Michelle continues, remember me last year at the charity event for the Better Days Children's Hospital? I know that didn't go so well. I hope you went home. Wait, what? I hope you won't hold that against me. Jeez, the way it auto-corrected stuff that it definitely didn't do initially. I think it like changed it after I looked at it. It's annoying. Tiffany laughs and says, "Oh, no, not at all." Michelle says, "Wait, aren't you wanted for murder?" Tiffany says, "Oh, no. That was just a big misunderstanding, and that's why I'm here. This is so random, and I'm sorry to barge into your house on Christmas Eve." Michelle says, "Oh, no worries." Tiffany continues, "But I saw on your Instagram you have this doll. It's a very rare doll, which I desperately need, because, well, you know, that Good Guy doll shipment never did make it to Better Days. And I feel that the public were just reminded of my charitable endeavors, that perhaps they would make that silly murder charge just go away." Michelle says, "No, wait, I need to post this. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's Jennifer Tilly." As Michelle starts to get a picture of Tiffany, we see behind Michelle, Chucky is putting on safety goggles and starts his chainsaw. He jumps down and cuts her in half in this long, drawn-out, awesome kill. It's so long that in the middle of it, we see a shot of the kids upstairs still sleeping because of how quiet the chainsaw is. And yeah, he finishes cutting her all the way through. Chucky says, "Man, that was quiet. That was quiet. That was quiet. Where have you been all my life?" And he kisses the chainsaw. Tiffany says, "Chucky, you're supposed to be dead." Chucky says, "You know, if I had a nickel for every time I heard that." "What are you doing here?" Tiffany replies, "None of your beeswax. Killing a mother on Christmas Eve. You're despicable." Chucky says, "You're just jealous you didn't think of it first." Tiffany says, "What are those poor kids gonna do now?" Chucky replies, "They're gonna rest in pieces, just like their parents. Except for that Caroline. I think she's got potential. But kids who misbehave have to be punished. So where are they, Tiff?" Tiffany replies, "I don't know who you're talking about." Chucky says, "Glenn and Glenda. They disobeyed me. They have to be punished too. Severely." Tiffany says, "Chucky, they're dead." Chucky says, "Come on, doll. I wasn't born yesterday. I mean, technically I was born 3 weeks ago, but I'm not stupid." I know what you're up to. I'm going to find them and punish them right after I punish those brats upstairs. Tiffany says, you're not going to get to them. Any of them. You'll have to go through me first. Chucky replies, the scenic route. Lexi jumps from the stairs, knocking Chucky down. She holds him down with her foot and asks, what did you do to my mother? I'll kill you. Chucky says, Tiff, get this bad girl off of me. Tiff, listen to me. I'm the last Chucky standing. If I die this time, I die for good. Tiffany replies, oh dear, so sad, and walks off. Chucky says, Lexi, let me go and I'll get you all the drugs you'll ever need. Lexi replies, this is the only drug I need, and starts the chainsaw, and she carves him up, killing him. Oh. Well, I guess Chucky's dead. To an end for season 3.
Yeah.
Upstairs, Tiffany sneaks into Caroline's room to steal the Belle doll, but finds Jake and Devin hiding. They both stab her. She backs away into the hall, but sees Lexi soaked in blood carrying a chainsaw, so she's cornered at the end of the hall. Jake says, Devin, call the police. Devin, call the cops. She's going to bleed out. Devin says, you're lucky he's such a good guy. Tiffany replies, no, Devin, you're the lucky one. Oh, that's actually kind of like a sweet line. You forget that, with all of her horrible, awful murder, Tiffany can sometimes be kind of nice. Yeah. It's kind of like a balance, there's the good and the bad, She's not horrible. Caroline walks out and joins Tiffany in the hall, holding a knife. She gives it to Tiffany. Tiffany hands Caroline the Belle doll. Tiffany puts the knife to Caroline's throat. Caroline, completely nonplussed, says, put the phone down. Devin does. She adds, the knife's now. They do. She says, let's go. Lexi says, no, Caroline, what are you doing? Caroline says, Chucky always told me one day my real mommy would come for me. He told me a long time ago that the lady downstairs, she only adopted me. That's why I never fit in here. And that's not true. It's you don't fit in here because you're probably on the spectrum, and your mom is not a good mom, so she's definitely not going to understand how to deal with you. Lexi says, Caroline, it's not... He lied to you. Caroline says, you're not my real sister. Chucky told me everything. He told me just to pretend to be afraid of him, and I fooled you. I fooled everyone. Tiffany says, clever girl. Lexi says, no, Caroline, he lies. Remember? I'm your sister. Tiffany says, she's lying. Lexi continues, I'm your real sister. Caroline says, you're the liar. Now where is he, Lexi? What have you done with him? Lexi says, I killed him. For real this time. Caroline says, you'll be sorry. Lexi, you'll be sorry. Mommy? Tiffany replies, yes, honey. Caroline says, let's go. Tiffany says, all right, sweet face. And they leave.
Yeah, just kidding.
No, there's like a couple more scenes.
Yeah, no, there's...
Yeah, later while the cops are there at the crime scene, like doing their investigation or whatnot, Lexi says, now I'm an orphan too. Jake says, we got you. A cop asks them about ask them the generic, so you're saying this is your story, and have you ever seen the suspect before, is how he ends it. I will also mention that normally this is the point where I would tell you who the cop was, but he's not in the credits, so
he's not real.
No idea who he is. So he asked him if they ever saw the suspect before. Jake says absolutely. Devin says it was Jennifer Tilly. The cop says, huh, it's a shame. I always thought she was overrated. With you... Wait, what? None of you has any next of kin. We made an emergency call to... Lexi says, no, you don't understand. We need to find my sister now. The cop says, I'm sorry, but we're trying everything we can do. In walks Miss Fairchild and asks, are you guys okay? Miss Fairchild is played by Annie Briggs, returning from last season. Lexi says, Miss F, and goes over and gives her a hug. The boys hug her as well. The cop tells Miss Fairchild, thanks for coming. We still have a lot of forensic work to do here. Can you take them somewhere safe today? Miss Fairchild says, yes. Yeah, no problem. Lexi says, I'm sorry. Oh, no, she said, sorry. She's continuing. Lexi, I'm so sorry. Lexi says, yeah, but right now, we need your help. Devin says, with or without the cops. Miss Fairchild says, okay, what's going on? Jake says, we have something to tell you, and it's going to sound completely insane. Miss F, do you remember Chucky? She sighs and says, I knew it! Oh. 3 weeks later. I don't think it was in the big thing. I don't remember if it was. If it was 3 weeks later. My bad if I didn't write it like that, so I don't know. In New York City, Tiffany, now with black hair, gets a phone call from No, sorry. Wait, no, this one's Nika. Nika called her this time. Nika says, look, I owe you an apology. I'm sorry about what happened to Glenn. I never wanted to hurt them. I'm glad Gigi's doing so well now. Tiffany says, you heard from Gigi? Nika says, they call me once a week. Tiffany says, oh, well, tell them I said hello, okay? Nika says, I will. Tiffany, nothing has changed between us. I'm still going to torture and kill you, but I'm going to give you a head start. And I love what you've done with your hair, Tiffany realizes that Nika is close enough to be spying on her. And she's like across the road. Tiffany takes the Voodoo for Dummies book from Caroline and tries to do the Ade Due Dumbala incantation. But it doesn't work. Because the Bell doll was secretly a good guy doll in disguise, so it brings Chucky back. I guess. That's my interpretation of, I guess, what happened there. I don't know. It's confusing. Because that's the only thing that kind of makes sense with the rules they had set. Because he can only go into, I don't know.
That or the Bell doll already had Chucky in him the whole time.
Maybe. But how?
Because it did belong to Dr. Mixter originally.
That was the whole thing, is it shouldn't be possible. But whatever. Because he's multiple times talking about, we can only go into like the same vessel, you know? I don't know.
Well, it was apparently a Chucky doll the whole time.
Yeah, I guess.
Chuck is Bell doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's whatever. It was for a cool guy. It was not as cool. It was for like this big reveal because Chucky needed to be back. Because it's the Chucky show. You can't keep Chucky gone forever if you wanted the show to continue. Even if you want the show to end, you still want to keep Chucky alive in case you want to make a movie later or something. Chucky walks at her with a knife, and we'll have to wait till next season to find out what happens. Episode's not quite over, though, because we head to Chucky on the armchair in front of a fire. This time, he recaps his kills by singing his version of 12 Days of Christmas. On the I'm jumping to the end, where he actually goes through all, which we only goes to like the first two, but still. On the 22nd day of I'm not going to sing it, I'm just going to read it. On the 22nd day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 1 crucifixion, 1 resurrection, 1 vivisection, 1 execution, 1 inoculation, 1 defibrillation, 1 defenestration, 1 crime of passion, 1 poisoned butthole, 1 throbbing headache, 1 triple bypass cardiac infarction, 1 poisoned wafer, 1 sad explosion, holy combustion, 1 Texas chainsaw, 2 classic slashings, doll decapitation, I don't know what that was supposed to be. Yeah, I wrote it translated to and adept nation. I know that's not what it is. I don't know what it was. Sorry guys. There was another kill that I don't know what it is. Plus that strangulation and Liv Morgan killed on live TV.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the season. Yeah, it's a really good episode. It does kind of feel like its own thing, like after the story, but still part of the story. But it's good. Yeah, this episode's fun. It's got a really cool kill with Mara Cross, former Mara Cross. Yeah, it's fun. That's Chucky. I don't know what you want me to say. I guess this is also the point where I'll tell you my thoughts on the whole series, including the movies. Yeah, I love them all. Maybe not love. I don't love Bride or Seed, but I do enjoy both of them more than most when it comes to Seed. So yeah, this franchise is amazing. It's probably my second franchise ever after Scream, which is such a crazy sentence to say if you like know me at all. Because, as we talked about before on like the first episode ever, I was not into horror movies at all. specifically when it came to Chucky, I was terrified of Chucky. I'd walk through like the mall and I'd have to turn away because our Spencers had like a Chucky doll in the window and I couldn't look at it because it scared me. Literally, as like we started the podcast in 2022, in 2021 when Chucky season 1 was airing, it would have commercials before some wrestling I was watching, and I would like look away while the commercial was happening because Chucky scared me. Now, Chucky's my favorite like horror character. I love Chucky so much. And it's credit to like Don Mancini. He's had such a good job writing this whole series. It's such a fun series. I've had so much fun covering it. I look forward to somehow figuring out how to cover season 3. I still don't know how we're going to do it exactly, but I'm looking forward because I don't want to not talk about Chucky season 3 because Chucky's great. That's it. That's my thoughts. Your turn.
Yeah, I would also probably put this as my second favorite franchise that we've covered. Just the really high level of quality all throughout.
You heard that, folks. He said all throughout. He likes all throughout. He loves See the Chucky now, guys.
With the low points, not as low, not nearly as low as some other franchises that we've covered.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Jason Goes to Hell is a great movie. Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare is a great movie.
So yeah, I enjoyed myself, which I did not expect to enjoy myself as much as I did for as long as I did. It was a pretty sick experience all throughout, and I would highly recommend, if you haven't watched the Chucky franchise, to at least watch the movies. And if you enjoy the movies, you should definitely watch the show as well.
Fair enough. Now is the point where we tell you what we're doing next, right? That's what we do. We announce what's next.
Yeah.
Because I know it's been crazy because we've been doing this arc for 16 weeks. Because there's 7 movies, there's the remake, and then there's 8 episodes we did on the TV show. Jeez. But yeah, next week we're back to form. It's a horror movie podcast again next week. And, I just, the last, 8 weeks we've had, this one man in our lives that I really like. His name is Devon Sawa. So we're going to cover a Devon Sawa movie next week. Because next week we're starting our coverage of the Final Destination films. So yeah, that's going to be the next 5 weeks is Final Destination. So tune in next week and every week, forever. Please. If you like this podcast, 5-star review on all those podcast apps. If you want to head over to youtube.com/@horrorboys, you could, subscribe there. And then if you do watch our videos on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, all that crap that we have to say because it genuinely does help the channel. So if you could do that, it'd be great.
Please.
Yeah, if you want to, also, another thing that'd be great, if you want to help us out financially, support us, that is, you could head on over to patreon.com/horrorboys where you get the podcast early, as well as other content, hypothetically. Yeah. I've been Austin, joined by Chris. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye!